Welcome back to Story After Midnight, where the darkness never sleeps. I'm your storyteller, guiding you through the world's most terrifying and mysterious true encounters. From haunted homes to ghostly sightings to strange and unexplained phenomena, I bring you the spine-chilling stories that will make you question what you thought you knew. In tonight's episode, we dive deep into the eerie and unsettling world of real-life ghost encounters. These are stories from those who have unknowingly brushed up against the supernatural and lived to tell the tale. So, find a quiet spot, dim the lights, and make sure you're alone, because the shadows might be closer than you think. Who knows what's lurking, watching, and waiting to make its presence known. Now, let's step into the unknown. The darkness awaits.
I never believed in secret rooms or hidden doors until I moved into this apartment. It was an old building, nearly 100 years old. Charming, the listing said. A steal for the price, they said. I should have known better. The first time I heard it, I thought it was my upstairs neighbor. A soft dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. Except it wasn't coming from above. It was coming from inside the walls. I froze, pressed my ear against the chipped white paint. The dragging continued, slow and steady. Then a knock. Just once. Knock. I stepped back, hard in my throat. There was no reason there should be space back there. Just beams. Pipes. Insulation. That's it. But the next night, it happened again. 2:17 a.m. Drag, knock. I started recording it on my phone, thinking maybe it was rats or some kind of plumbing issue. I even asked the landlord. There's nothing behind those walls, he said flatly. Just structure. Maybe some ductwork. He didn't even come look. 3 nights in, I noticed something else. The knocks were following me. No matter where I stood in the apartment, they came from the nearest wall. And always at the same time, 2:17. Drag, knock. I didn't sleep that night. Out of desperation, I pulled my furniture away from the walls and ran my hands along every surface, searching for something, anything, that would explain it. And that's when I found it. In the hallway near the bathroom, there was a thin seam, barely visible, cutting vertically into the wall. A line that shouldn't be there. I knocked once, and something knocked back. I stumbled back, trembling, breath caught in my chest. But now I knew there was something behind the walls. The next day, I took a crowbar and began to pry. The plaster was surprisingly soft, like it had been repaired hastily. Behind it, not pipes, not beams, a hollow space. A door, no handle, just a narrow vertical slit and a whisper of cool air coming through it. I forced it open. What I saw wasn't possible. It was a room, cramped, claustrophobic. No light bulbs, no windows, just crumbling wallpaper and an old mattress in the corner. And in the dust, footprints, bare, fresh, leading toward the far corner where the wall bulged oddly, like it had been closed in a hurry. I should have left, right then, but something made me step inside. The air was stale, like the breath of someone who hadn't exhaled in decades. The moment I crossed the threshold, the door slammed behind me. I spun around and pulled at it, it wouldn't budge. I was trapped. Then I heard it again. Drag, knock. Only this time it wasn't muffled. It was coming from the same room. I turned toward the corner. Slowly, a figure emerged from the bulging wall. Pale, paper thin, skin like dried glue peeling at the edges. Her eyes were hollow, but locked on me like she'd been waiting. I used to live here, she said, voice dry and rasping, like air scraping through broken glass. They walled me in. I'd backed up, trying to stay calm, reaching for my phone. No signal. She stepped closer. I could hear her feet dragging across the dust. You opened the door, she whispered. Now it has to be you. I lunged at the door, slammed my shoulder against it. It cracked, then gave way, and I fell through into the hallway. I turned back, and the door was gone. Just flat wall again, like it never existed. The police didn't believe me. No one did. They found old blueprints eventually, from the 1950s. There had been a maid's room behind that wall, but had been sealed off after a fire. The tenant who lived there never found. I moved out the next day, but every night since, at 2:17 a.m., I hear it from wherever I am. Drag, drag, knock, and I know she's still trying to find her way out.
The first story may be over, but the nightmare has only just begun. What comes next is darker, colder, and far more disturbing. Before we continue, if these stories have unsettled you even a little, let it be known by liking this video, commenting your thoughts, and subscribing. The shadows are always watching. Now, brace yourself. The next horror awaits.
I pass it every day. That house. It sits crooked on the edge of the woods near Clo, where the road dips into shadows and the fog collects like whispered secrets. The villagers won't look at it, let alone talk about it. Even my grandmother, who tells stories of Strigo and cursed forests, refuses to speak its name. But it's just their house, right? Old, crumbling, empty. Until last week, when it called my name. Not figuratively mean it literally. I was walking home from the bus stop when I heard it. A voice. Female. Soft. But not quite human. Elena, it came from the porch. But the house has been abandoned for decades. I froze. And then my blood turned to ice. 'Cause the voice, it sounded exactly like me. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe I was overtired. Maybe someone was playing a prank. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak in my flat felt like it came from inside the walls. The next day, I avoided the house by taking the long route. But even to stress over, I felt its presence like it was watching me through the trees. And then, 2 nights later, I heard it again, but this time from inside my apartment. Ella, my name, in my own voice, echoed from the living room. I lived alone, where I turned on light the thing. No one there, but the window was open, and in the distance, across the roof's entangled branches, I could see the house, lit from the inside. I went to a priest in the old Orthodox church. I told him everything. He looked pale and cross himself. There are places in this country that are not part of the living world, he whispered. You mustn't go near it yet, it was too late. The house had already chosen me. Over the next few days, I stopped sleeping. The voice followed me into mirrors, into phone calls with no one on the other end. It whispered when I closed my eyes. It screamed when I tried to leave the city. Then, I found the photograph. Buried deep in my grandmother's attic, tucked inside an old book of photos, a black and white picture of the same house, and in the window, a woman who looked exactly like me. Last night, I finally gave in. I walked back to the house. The front door was open. The inside smelled like dust, wet stone, and blood. And there, at the top of the stairs, stood a woman, her face identical to mine, her eyes hollow. She smiled. You've come home, she said. The walls began to pulse like lungs. Portraits bled from their frames. Bats screamed from the chimney. And somewhere deep inside the house, I heard a heartbeat not mine. I turned to run, but the door slammed shut. I'm writing this now from the attic. The others are here, too. Versions of me, each from a different time, each with the same face. The house feeds on us. It calls us home, one by one. If you hear your name, don't answer, 'cause a house that calls you never lets you leave.
Thank you for joining me tonight on this eerie journey into the unknown. If these stories have left you with a chill down your spine, don't forget to like and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. And remember, there's always more lurking just around the corner. If you've ever experienced something strange, something unexplainable, feel free to share your own story in the comments below. You never know who else might be listening or watching. Until next time, keep your lights low, your doors locked, and your curiosity never at ease. Because at Story After Midnight, the darkness never rests, and neither do we.